we go.
This video is going to focus on the lower extremity. So today we are going to be looking at the femur, which is your thigh bone, the patella, which is your kneecap, the tibia, which is your shin bone, the fibula, which is beside it, and of course the foot. So let us now come down to our individual bones. So I brought out my coxal bone again so that we can kind of look to see where the leg articulates with the coxal bone, where the lower extremity articulates with the coxal bone. So you remember what this was called, right? This is the acetabulum. So the acetabulum is the socket, which then accommodates the head of the femur. So this is the coxofemoral joint, and it has to have a snug fit in there. Okay, so now if you're looking at your handout, we'll start with the femur. So the femur is your thigh bone, the longest bone in your body. At the top, we are going to have the head of the femur. The head of the femur is nice and round. It's the ball part of the head and socket joint. The next word you see there is the fovea capitis. That's that dot right in the middle of the head. So it is has a ligament in it, which then articulates and kind of holds that ball and socket joint snugly in place. So the head of the femur, and then the fovea capitis. Fovea means spot, and capitis means head. So it's a spot on the head of the femur. Next we have the neck. Of course, we have a nice pronounced neck here, kind of like your neck is holding up your head. The neck of the femur is holding up the head of the femur. Now we have two trochanters. So the two trochanters are kind of like the tubercles that we had in the humerus. This is going to be the greater tubercle. So, trochanter. The greater trochanter is going to be lateral, okay? And then this is going to be the lesser trochanter. So the lesser trochanter is going to be medial. Always remember to get your bearings as to what's lateral or medial where the head is. The head is always medial. So this is the lesser trochanter, medial. Okay, next we have the condyles. So the condyles are going to be down at the distal end. So remember, condyle means smooth, okay, smooth and kind of rounded. So we have our medial condyle and our lateral condyle. Again, medial, head's medial, medial, medial condyle, lateral condyle, okay? Then we also have our epicondyles. The epicondyles are the side pieces. So we have the medial epicondyle and the lateral epicondyle. So if we go from medial to lateral, we have the medial epicondyle, the medial condyle, then we'll have the lateral condyle and the lateral epicondyle. Okay, then we have the patellar surface is going to be this groove here. This is the patella. The patella is your kneecap. So the patellar surface is to accommodate the posterior view of the patella. Okay, and then the last word that we have there is intercondylar fossa. That is the thing we're going to look at on the posterior view. It is this really deep depression here between the two condyles. In fact, inter means between. So intercondylar means between the condyles, and a fossa is a depression. So that's the intercondylar fossa. Okay, so I'm going to go through everything really quickly one more time. Let's go. Head, fovea capitis, greater trochanter, lesser trochanter, medial condyle, lateral condyle, medial epicondyle, lateral epicondyle, patellar surface, intercondylar fossa. Okay, let's move on to these two. These two are going to be the tibia and the fibula, right? So I remember the fibula being lateral. LA stands for lateral, and it's also the longer bone. So let's go back to this guy for a minute. We can see that the tibia is medial and the fibula is lateral. Okay, so those are the two bones in the lower leg. So let's go ahead and see how they fit together. So how do we determine if it's right or left? So this has to be the right one because this guy way down at the bottom has to be on the inside of your ankle. So we'll get to its name, but this is what you bump on your ankle sometimes, and it really hurts a lot. So if you reach down and feel the inside of your ankle, you'll feel a little ball-like thing down there. That lets you indicate that it is medial. Okay. So and then this goes in the front, so that helps you determine that this is the right one because this is anterior, so this has to go in the front, and this is medial, so that goes down at the bottom. Okay, so let's start naming our parts here. So the tibia. So this time it's kind of weird. The condyles are on top. So I'm going to kind of flip them around here and show you the top. So the condyles are still rounded and they're still smooth, but they dip in. So this one is the medial condyle, and this one is the lateral condyle. Medial and lateral. Get your bearings. This guy is medial down here. So that makes this side the medial side, so here's medial. Okay, I'm gonna flip them around again. This is the tibial tuberosity. So the tibial tuberosity is that rather large lump in the front. Then we have the anterior crest. This is the sharp crest that we see, the sharp line going all the way down the anterior surface of the shaft. Ladies, if you've ever used a razor to shave, you have probably cut that anterior crest at some point. Okay, now this thing down here that I kept saying was medial, this is called the medial malleolus. So the medial malleolus, I'm going to bring my foot into view here. The medial malleolus sits on top of one of your ankle bones, and as you can see, the medial malleolus hangs off to the side. So you can sometimes knock that if you're moving around really fast, and that hurts a lot. Okay, and then one other thing, this is called the fibular notch. Why is it called the fibular notch? Because the fibula snugs up into that. Okay, so fibular notch is what accommodates the fibula, which is the long bone. Okay, so now let's look at the fibula. So the fibula is the lateral bone of your lower leg. It's really easy, it only has two parts to it. It has the top part up here is called the head. So the head is, I'm going to turn it here. The head is more blunted, okay? It's kind of fat, it's kind of blunted across the top. Down here is called the lateral malleolus, and you can see it's tapered, it's more skinny. So this is called the lateral malleolus. So the fibula only has two parts, the head and the lateral malleolus. So let's put these two back together again. You can see when we put them together, we have a medial malleolus on the tibia and a lateral malleolus on the fibula. So if we try to put our foot back on here again, okay, so this is how it sits on your foot. I'm trying to get it held in there, okay, a little difficulty. So this is going to be what hangs on the inside of your ankle. And this one is what you probably more likely knock against. This is going to be that round ball that if you reach down and feel the outside of your ankle, you feel the lateral malleolus. So lateral towards the outside, medial towards the inside. Okay, so now we're done with those. I see that I skipped our poor little patella here. So the patella is the kneecap. This is how it's going to sit with this broader portion superior, okay, and the bottom pointy portion is going to be inferior, so top and bottom. So what are the parts of this one? The base is going to be the top portion, okay. The apex is going to be the pointy portion. So let's look at that on this guy. So there he is, the patella sitting in the patellar surface, as it would in real life. Here's the base, here's the apex. Okay, then you have medial and lateral articular facets. We all know what facets mean now, and articular facets is where does the patella join on to the femur. So if we flip him over, we'll see there are two kind of areas on the posterior view of the patella. There's also a hump. I'm putting my finger on the hump, okay? This part is larger. The larger part is lateral. This part is smaller, the smaller part is medial. So this is going to be the lateral articular surface, and this is going to be the medial articular surface. So I'm going to bring femur back again, so flip him over and put it back on. So under here is the larger part, okay, that's lateral. Under here is the smaller part, that's medial, okay? So that's what you need to know for those guys. Okay, next is the foot. Big old foot here. So this is the right foot. And we, now let's get his toes straightened out here. There we go. Okay, so let us start with the tarsal bones. Now remember in the wrist, that was called the carpus, and we had 8 carpal bones. The bones in the ankle are called the tarsus, and they are the tarsal bones. So we have 7 tarsal bones. So let's start with our list and work our way down. This large one here, which is lateral, so remember lateral in the foot is pinky side. This is called the calcaneus. This is your heel bone. Okay, so this is the heel bone. This is what would be sticking out in the back of your foot, and that is the heel. This nice rounded one is called the talus. So the talus is the one that has the hump. The talus is the one that articulates with the tibia. So those 2 T's go together, tibia and talus. Okay, so those are the 2 largest ones. Now we're going to come back over to the one above the pinky and the number 4, so 4 and 5. This is called cuboid. So cuboid means it's kind of a square shape. So this is called the cuboid tarsal bone. Okay, the next one is navicular. Navicular means boat-shaped. So this is kind of a boat shape. Use your imagination, okay? So the navicular is going to be distal to the talus. Talus, navicular, calcaneus, cuboid. Now we're left with these 3 guys here. They all have the last name of cuneiform. Now, I find it easier to call them the first, second, and third cuneiform, because guess where we start with number 1 in our foot? Big toe. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the first, second, and third cuneiforms, okay? You can also call them lateral, intermediate, and medial. So those would be the directional terms. I find it much easier to call them first, second, and third cuneiforms. Okay, so let's breeze through them again. Calcaneus and cuboid, talus and navicular, first, second, and third cuneiforms. Okay, now everything else is pretty much exactly the same as it is in the hand. So remember, I'm going to put my hand into view now. So remember, hand is this way in correct anatomical position. So thumb is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but in foot, let's go back to the foot. Foot this is correct anatomical position. So big toe is number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in the hand, number 1 is the thumb, lateral. In the foot, the big toe is number 1, medial. So everything else is pretty much the same. We have the first metatarsal. Remember, metatarsals make up the arch of your foot. Metacarpals make up the palm of your hand. So this is your metatarsal number 1, metatarsal 2, metatarsal 3, metatarsal 4, metatarsal 5. Okay, and then these are exactly the same. So these are going to be the proximal and distal phalanges of digit number 1, the proximal, middle, and distal phalanges of digit number 2, etc. Okay, so let's review this one again. Let's say if I said name this little guy right here. This would be the middle phalanx of digit number 4. Okay, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How about this one? This one would be the proximal phalanx of digit number 2. 1, 2. What about this? This is just called metatarsal number 5. Okay, so not so bad, as much of it is kind of similar to the hand. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email and I'll be happy to help you straighten it out. That concludes our skeletal system. Bye-bye.